I've had the pleasure of knowing for many, many years. We've done a lot of stuff together. David was obviously one of my guinea pigs early days of my last company. And we worked really close together over the last maybe 20 years almost. At least. But, you know, I guess the main thing that we are here at IPT is David and I have been together for a long time, where there was a lot of innovation going on. And I think that's what Trenchless is all about, which is all about, you know, learning and innovating and coming up with new ideas. And early on, David was one of the first guys I met that actually what they did was we were both very interested in small diameter. And at that time, small diameter really didn't exist anywhere. So David was always searching for that. And I was actually always doing that. So we met up and have done a lot of work together. So we're building now IPT, internal pipe technologies, with very similar kind of base. It's what we're all about. We're all about innovation. We're all about doing things a little different and a little better. And that's what IPT is going to be pretty much focused on. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm running IPT. I'm in the plant here. We're going to walk around the plant today. I'm going to show you all the different kind of stations that we have, some of the different products that we have, some of the different ways we do things, some of the different things that we're coming up with and coming out with. We do have a lot of announcements coming up on new products and new technologies that we're pretty excited about. So basically, I'm running the plant. I'm also running all of the R&D and driving new technology. David, you want to swing away at what you're doing?
I am working mostly with the contractors themselves. As he said, I've been lining for 20 years now and have kind of figured out how to sell it and how to be profitable at it. It's why would you want to sell anything if you weren't profitable? So I've worked up a good pricing system that we're trying to use across the board with all of our installers, everybody that signs on with IPT. We want to see 80% gross margins. We want to see the guys be successful. The more successful they are, the more product we can sell out of IPT. So we're just going to focus on being there, being available at all times. I also bring the guys, when the guys do come to our plant and go through training here, they also get an added benefit of if they're plumbing contractors, which we are signing up people that aren't plumbing contractors. But if they are plumbing contractors, I bring them through Midway Plumbing and I work with them on their chart of accounts and their financials and you know, how to sell this product and how to even keep your margins up in your regular plumbing service. So it's the benefit is enormous what we bring to the table, we believe. So far we're having great feedback on that.
Yeah, I think it's been really great. In IPT, you know, obviously we've both had a lot of time to reflect on all the mistakes that we've made and the mistakes that everybody makes in this industry. And Trenchless is tough enough as it is. When you take Trenchless down into 2 inch, 1.5 inches, and you're working underneath slabs and things like that and very remote accesses, it gets really tough. So it's a hard enough business to kind of get your head wrapped around, never mind trying to integrate it into your business and actually trying to drive your pricing and your sales and things like that. So at IPT, one of the things that we recognized is that it's not all about just the lining. I recently had a guy tell me that, well, it's just tube, so it doesn't really matter where I get it from. And I kind of reflected back on that, and I thought, you know, man, you could not be more wrong than that. Is it just tube when you want to just buy tube? Yeah, it's fine. It's available. But when you're running a business and you're getting into something that's new, it's so very important to have that support. That's what's key. You know, and that's what we offer. We've got a lot of support. We've got a lot of business support. And that is the difference, I think, of what we're trying to do at IPT. So, you know, David runs one of the most highly successful as far as margins go and bottom lines go. He's in a small territory, but that doesn't matter. What's more important is what you're making on your bottom line. And so being able to give these guys that mentorship, I think, is very, very key. And it's very important. You know, I've seen so many guys struggle with Trenchless technology. So many guys come into the business and then get out of the business because it's just too difficult. And a lot of times, some of it is the technology, but a lot of times it's just the integration into that business, you know, connecting your drain calls, how to integrate your drain business and turn it into the lining business. You know, making business changes is pretty important. So, you know, taking a camera, instead of a money-making tool, it becomes a tool to make money. You know, stop charging for your camera inspections and start putting your camera down every drain call. Those little things and little differences are pretty important when you're trying to run a business, especially when you're starting up in Trenchless. And I think a lot of guys make that mistake. So with IPT, we're trying to change all of that, and we're trying to really bring in some business mentorship to our guys.
Because we've made those mistakes.
We've made all those mistakes. I mean, and you know, I think everybody in Trenchless has always made mistakes and bad mistakes. Some are the small ones, they're okay. But sometimes, and I think everybody will feel it, sometimes you make some bad mistakes. You know, and what I've always taught all of my employees is that, you know, it's not really a mistake if you're learning from it. It's a lesson. So that's what's pretty important. So at IPT, those are the things that we're trying to change on the business side of things. As far as they go forward and kind of taking a look at the technology, one of the things that we've really identified, again, on the business side of things a little bit, is one of the biggest hurdles that guys, I guess, they struggle with is being able to duplicate their crews. And, you know, one of the things that we've recognized is, as a company, we have to be able to bridge that in the field back to that office. And we have to be able to duplicate these guys, train these guys, and we got to do our part as a supplier to make it easier for guys to multiply their crews and grow their businesses. So that's certainly something that we focus on at IPT. And that's apparent with our QR code program, to where all of the data for that specific line of pipe, we'll see it here when we let some product out, but everything is at the technician's fingertips. So no more worrying about things like resin mix and temperatures and things like that. Everything is on a QR code that can be scanned easily on all of our liners. So every one of our liner products is very specific to that size diameter and those resin mixes. And all of our resins have the QR code, which has all of our mixes on it. MSDS sheets are readily available on the QR code as well as engineered specifications for every size of liner we do. Again, a lot of data at the fingertips of the technicians, but as well as the sales guys. So we find that's very important when guys are trying to duplicate their crews. It takes a lot of onus and the math out of the hands of the technician, and it puts everything right in front of them. One of the other things we do with the technicians as well, and one of the things we're working on, things like this, to where, you know, one of the things we always get on a tech call is, what PSI do I use? What PSI? Yeah. What pressure? What pressure is this? 2, 3, every day, 4 inch, 6 inch. So one of the things that we've done, and again, our focus is on always making it easier. That's our main goal, is to make things easier for the technicians out in the field. So something as simple as this, that when we have a lining gauge and you've got regulators, and regulators get jammed with resin, they get dirty, they get broken, guys break them. So what these are preset regulated stations. So no more regulators, no more worrying about it. This is basically a 2-inch regulator station preset at 23 PSI, which is our recommended PSI hold for 2-inch lining. So basically all the technician has to do is hook this up to the compressor, turn it on, and walk away. So no more worrying about what pressure they're setting at, no more worrying about what they've got in there. And better yet, the business owner knows that their technicians aren't having to do all that math. They're not having to worry about it every day. They're not having to worry about it on every installation. It's all right. So again, eliminating any of that decision-making that has to be done on site is what IPT is all about. Okay. So way back when David and I had started in this industry, David was one of the first guys. I was the first manufacturer, but David was one of the first guys to use flex shafts while cleaning pipe. We also used flex shaft and spin casting pipe many years ago. And you know, the funny thing is a lot of the units that I had made actually ended up over in Europe. But flex shafts, we've been around flex shaft cleaning for a long time. We came up with our flex shafts were more geared towards 2-inch and 3-inch. And one of the things that we've kind of seen in the industry, again, kind of trying to move everything forward, you know, everything is very heavily engineered. You know, the cutter heads are very heavy engineered. very expensive. So one of the things we like to do is we just kind of like to break everything down a little bit, make it a little easier and make it a little more functional. So one of the things we do is we incorporate drill technology, which means core drilling technology, into our cutter heads. Very, very simple. They're not the prettiest cutter heads, but they are more functional than anything else allowed on the market, or available on the market right now. So again, breaking things down to the simple things.
And much less expensive too.
Much less expensive. We understand, again, because we're lining pipe every day, having something that is overly engineered and costs $400 or $500 per head. We also know that within 5 minutes, you can blow that head up and dull it, lose it down the line, whatever you're going to do. But certainly that head is going into a pretty hostile environment. So we spend a little less time on pretty and a little more time on functionality. So that being said, on our Gator Tools, which is a division of IPT and units that we make here in Abilene, Texas, they're very functional. So we have our battery operated, drill driven. We make our chain heads. But again, once we kind of got looking at the industry, we recognized that there was some weaknesses what was available. So one is a lot of the units are extremely heavy, like our Gator Boss tool over here that you'll see. You're not going to pull that up on a roof. You're not getting it up on a roof, and they're very heavy and they're very hard to move around. The other thing that we kind of recognized was that the lighter tools, you've got some with a completely enclosed unit on the face that kind of keeps everything from binding up. And then you've got other ones that actually have a completely open face. But the problem is when they bind, the cable comes spooling out of there and it twists up and binds up. So one of the things that we've done and we've focused on is we have a guide that keeps that cable in that reel if you do end up binding up. And we've also been able to, because we're not doing a full face, you can actually interchange all the cables. You can actually change out your cable if anything should go wrong with it, which everybody knows always does. And it's a pretty simple drive mechanism to where we've got a stand here and we can basically run these. And this is a line pipe.
Yeah, there's actually liner in here.
So with our chain heads, and we'll show you that in a minute, they can be pretty aggressive. We make multiple different chain heads. 2-inch cured liner pretty quickly. There it is. So one of the things you'll notice on the cutter head, we'll turn this slow, well, you'll see that it doesn't spin out, spins out centrifugally, but there's a flat on it. And one of the things that we've noticed in the industry is that you'll have a chain with multiple carbides on it. And when the chain wears out, you typically have one piece of carbide that is wore out, while the other ones are all like brand new. So one of the things we found was we can be more aggressive on cast iron cleaning and descaling if we actually create a cleaning space that is 1.5 inches long with multiple carbides on the top. So instead of us taking a piece of corrosion on one piece of carbide, we're taking it out with 3. So we've just found with our work, and you'll see again when it spins, how you get that flat on the outside of that chain. So you can clean faster and you can clean better with our cutting tools. On our big Boss Gator, similar type of chain head, guys and gals. So basically you'll see this a little better. So you'll see the 3 pieces of carbide on our chains. And the other thing that we find as well is that when the guys were using other units and other large units, some of the things that we've found is that the guys are using big foot pedals, but they never stand up to do a drain because you're always down on your knees. You're always kind of looking at certain things. And so basically what we found is we like a nice trigger, hand trigger. So the hand trigger, what this does is it actually allows you to have 2 hands and work this. So you can move this and remotely and you can actually use this instead of a foot pedal on it. And you'll see that same flat is on our larger chains as well.
You got a hand trigger on it. It says a foot pedal. It's like,
and the big thing about the Boss is obviously this is electric, so the motor's all encased in the reel itself. And again, chains and reinstatement heads are available. We've got multiple sanding heads for small diameter, for the larger diameter. We do have a larger sander as well. And chains are available in 2, 3, 4, and 6-inch pipes. So basically we can handle just about anything. Our battery runs 3 different sizes, which is our micro, our mini, and our medium. So they come with multiple different lengths of cable. And we actually have our own cable here that we keep in stock that we can supply anybody with any type of flex shafts whatsoever, as far as that goes. All of our tools come with a cool little ammo box that comes outfitted with all of your sandpaper and all of the tools you might need. We also have complete sanding kits to where it comes with all different sizes of the sanding paddles and heads. So you can buy that all together, or obviously you can buy them independently. Okay. So one of the things we're going to do is, and we promised everybody, was we're going to take a tour of the plant and take a look at kind of the different stations and the way we kind of do things here. We're going to show you as much as we possibly can without giving away every one of our secrets. But which obviously makes us pretty special in our eyes anyway. So basically this plant in Abilene, so everybody knows me. I've had multiple plants doing CIPP lining. So we manufacture all of our felt here. So we're going to walk you down through where we manufacture the felt, where we laminate the felt, how we bring the felt in, and how we tube that. And the one thing to remember with this plant as well is we have full UPC and ICC listings. So it's very, very important to us. We want to make sure that all of our liners are of highest quality. And we get audited every year here by both governing bodies as far as the plumbing code goes. So it's pretty important. We'll walk you through kind of what we do with everything, what we do with our resins and how we keep track of our resins and all of the data points that we have to maintain and keep for when we get audited. And, you know, these audits are more or less surprise audits to where they just tell us, hey, next week we're coming out. Get your stuff in order and have it ready. So every day here we have to maintain it because we don't know when it's coming. So it's pretty important. I think it's a great system to keep our quality up because it keeps all of our employees sharp. It keeps all of our processes sharp. So it's actually a really good way to do things. So we'll walk around and we'll go through things. One of the things we'll show you too is we have a great little camera system that actually we've been selling these for a little while now. They've been pretty good. The feedback is really good with these. It's a great little portable unit. What's nice about it is the battery. I've been on site this week. Actually, we had 2 things going on this week, which made this a horrible week for this, but we had guys in town. So we had existing partners in town, and we also had a potential new partner in town. So we were running through a lot of different things with them. David had them up at Midway showing them exactly, you know, what the plumbing business runs like and how it runs, the systems that it use. And then we had them here doing a bunch of different things and doing some lining as well as being on site. So a couple of the guys took some of these cameras, but, you know, the nice thing about these cameras is, you know, the battery lasts 3 days on full use. They're pretty incredible. They're not going to be a workhorse. They're not going to be pushing out, you know, in 6-inch pipe for 200 feet or anything like that. So they're pretty nice cameras. You can see, I don't know if you can see the picture, but the picture's very, very clear. So one of the things that guys find with this is that it's very, very clear. They like it a little bit better than what's available. But again, it's not quite as durable as some of the other more expensive ones. But it's a great unit because it's got a self-contained sonde. Comes with all the different skids. It's got memory stick. And it's got a really nice screen on it too. And it's got a full title. So they're good little cameras, good cameras for doing small diameter line. So they're great for that. So those are our cameras. And so we'll start to walk through right now. We'll kind of come back. So this is our liner table. So this is where we build our liners. And I'm going to walk you through that. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the full process. So when we bring in our felt products, bring them in large carpet bolts. And what we do is we split them up to our specific sizes. So right here, you'll see everything is marked. You know, obviously our 6 3/4 belt is for our 2-inch liner. Our 12 7/8 is for our 4-inch liner. We've got 9 7/8 is our 3-inch liner over here. So this comes all slit, and you'll see the raw felt. It's actually a geotextile is what we use. At IPT, we do not use. A lot of times people think, and again, to take you back to the comment that I mentioned earlier, tube, it's just tube, it doesn't matter. We do not use inversion tube for pull in place. We don't do that for specific reasons because sometimes the laminate on that ends up being on the inside, but it's on the outside. When you drag it through, it catches a lot. And it's either too rigid or it's too soft. So we want to laminate this ourselves. So basically, this is a geotextile. We bring this in. And we run it through a lamination process. So we'll laminate this felt. This is actually being laminated right now. And you'll see it's a heat bond lamination process that we do. We maintain about almost 300 degrees in this top roller here. And when it comes out this other side, you'll see that it's actually fully laminated on the outside. So the key to this is it makes a very slick surface so that when we're pulling in place, it's gliding over any of the debris, any of the offsets and things like that. This is very, very important, okay? And you'll also see how we do this before we tube it, and you'll see this when we tube, is right here you've got about 3/4 of an inch where there's no lamination. That becomes very, very important when we go to tube our product. So we use an overlap seam that we heat bond. One up here. So you'll see 31.5 flat. We do make up to 12-inch and 14 and 16-inch liner here. So what we can do with this is if we do get a special order, and some of the larger stuff that I've made is 32-inch and 36-inch pipe. But we can actually manipulate this felt to make up any size that we need. So we'll throw it on our production tables, walk it through and slit it, and then we'll weld it up. So once we laminate that felt, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it over onto our tubing tables. And what we're going to do is roll this out. And we're going to use the small welder that was down there. We'll walk down here. But we're going to tube this up. And then you'll see now where that overlap becomes very important because that is now on that flat table. And when we seam this and run our welder through there, it's now formed into a tube. This would be for our 6-inch liner. And you can see just on the sheen of it, you can see that this becomes very, very slick and slippery. And that becomes very important when we install, especially when you're doing around 90-degree bends. Down below our table, you'll see all of our different bladder sizes. At IPT, what we do is we separate all of our bladder and felt so that when we use our plastic inverters and things like that, the guys actually have less labor on site. They don't have to take it all apart to put it all back together again. So these are all different our rubber sizes: 2-inch, 3-inch, 4 and 6 is down there. So here's our finished tube. Right here, that's finished weld. We'll then seal this, keep on seal this with our logo tape, and we'll be good to go. So obviously with our system to pull in place, plastic is very important. This is our release plastic. So this goes between our felt and our bladder. And what it does is it keeps a barrier between the EDPM rubber and the epoxy, because those two never want to touch, or else you are never going to get your bladder out of the pipe. And again, we've learned through real life
Mistakes.
So one of the things that we've started doing here at IPT, and we've got an announcement coming out in the next couple of weeks, is we actually make our transitions here. So there's a couple of different ways you can do transitions. We teach our guys, our partners, how to do transitions in the field. So we can do it one of two ways at any given day. So we can actually make our transitions. And we just had a guy order like 20 some odd of these. So this is a 4/6 transition. So what we do is we would use a 6-inch rubber all the way through. And we can make this any length that our partners want. So basically when that goes in, you can see that it transitions on center from 4 to 6. A couple of reasons why we like to do this. A lot of people will like to use a flexible material. But the problem is of course, if you think about it, if I take a material in resin that's 4-inch and I stretch it to 6, it cannot have the same properties that it had in 4. It's going to be much thinner. So you have less product, less material. So doing it this way, again, we want to make sure that we're following code. We want to make sure that our structural integrities are all in place, no matter what size or what we're doing. So with the transitions like this, we get an equally strong liner at 4-inch and an equally strong liner at 6-inch. So that's what we find is very important. The way we do it in the field is just really a technique to where we can tie these two together. They're not tied together until they cure, but it's actually a nice way to do it. But again, we have two ways of doing it, and some of our guys like doing it some ways. Other guys like doing it this way. Both ways are great because both ways give you a strong liner. So these transitions, everything we do is heat bonded. So basically the guys will just prepare it and then they just heat bond this, specifically set at about 225, and they'll just bond these two together. And it's a very, very strong seam, much stronger than a sewn seam. Okay. Go around. Another station that we've got. I'll go over the little welder down here. And this is our final product. So I mentioned we've got a trade show happening that's going out. This is for a customer in Florida. So this is how our product comes. This is 3-inch by 100 foot, and these are 150 foot of 4-inch. They're all put together. So they all come up boxed up and ready to go. This is the startup for the partner that I mentioned that came down. He wasn't signed on yet, but is now signed on. So this is a standard startup for us. This is going up to the Boston area. And so we've got wet air rollers that we're going to see in a few minutes. But again, all of our resins. And I'll show you this, but over here you see a full UPC shield, which dictates we have a full listing for our products in the for the plumbing code on drainage pipe. What we do on our epoxy-based system is a 2-to-1. Our high temp is more of a 4-to-1, but a very easy ratio to follow. A lot of people with their products, they have a 8.625 to a 3.1, stuff like that. We keep our ratios pretty simple, again, to kind of keep those guys on the know and be able to duplicate the crews. We want to make sure everything is easy as possible.
That is nice.
So this one here, you see ICC and UPC. Everything is done. There's our QR codes for our resins. So all of our stuff is epoxy. Those that know me know that how important epoxy is. Not only is it a very high quality product, but it's very important that when you're working in small diameter pipe and you're inside a home or a building, you can't have any odors. So 0 VOCs on the epoxy, 2-to-1 mixed ratios. We've got our A, we've got B, We have our slow resin, and we're now starting to offer our high temperature resin as well. So you'll see just standard inventory, everyone, 2-inch, comes in 50-foot and 100-foot rolls. 4-inch is 150 and 75s. We do the 75s, and we decided to offer that just because it's so easy to handle and carry around, and guys to have in the truck. You can see the smaller boxes. So multiple sizes really will suit anybody's needs. We also keep a whole array of different products, mixers, air valves, bandit tools, bandit clamps. We've got a whole suite of retrieval winches that actually assist all of our guys on how to actually extract bladders and install liners. These are pretty important. And then we also have our end caps, which are a little bit different than everybody else's. So typically people will have just a little nub of an end cap. We like to use the hydraulic hoses because they bend. And this helps us install around 90s and extract around 90s. All end caps, as always, end caps can be tough. And extraction is always hard, but you'll see the smaller ones for 3-inch and 2-inch. So again, that's just some of the things that we've actually changed. You know, going forward with experience, we've just changed that kind of, we've learned and we've come up with different things and we utilize different things. And that's one of the big things that's really important is that we like to get feedback. So recently we came up with a new way to do 2-inch lining, and we've actually released it, you know, minimally to guys that actually use a lot of our 2-inch. We've asked them to try to give us feedback. We want feedback. We want everything so that we're all learning together. And we're not doing something that just is, you know, do as we say, not as we do. We want everybody to be part of everything that we're kind of bringing out so that we're handling everything, you know, up front, and the guys actually give us the feedback and we know what to correct and what not to correct. Because, you know, if we just did it, it's just kind of, it's just two-dimensional. It's just us. And so we want to actually bring everybody in so we get the proper data.
It's tested at Midway Plumbing before it's ever tested with another installer.
Yep. Always test our stuff. Always want to test everything to make sure it works before we release it. And that's the nice part about this. In my past life, again, I had a large installation division that everything was kind of run through before we did that. And, you know, it's important to have Midway Plumbing on board. It's important to have guys on board that try this stuff and give us the feedback, because we want to make sure that we're putting into something that works and doesn't just work 3 times out of 10. So it's pretty important. So this is an example. So this is just bare liner, and then you'll see our QR codes basically on here that people can just scan their phones, and that is specifically going to take you to a 6-inch liner and tell you how much resin to mix. It's also going to give you our ASTM 1216 engineer specification for that liner. Why that's important? It's important that the guys know, and even the homeowners know, or the customer knows, that based upon ASTM 1216 and 15-year-old cast iron, the diameter is going to be cut down, but the flow coefficient goes up by about 104%. So when you have a third-party testing sheet available that actually tells a homeowner that that's what it is, or even a plumbing inspector, it goes a long way to validating the technology that you're putting in. And for us, you know, it's, again, to bring you back to codes. Codes are very important, and we want to make sure that people are educated when they're putting it in and when they're buying it. So this is how we bring in our base epoxy. We bring it in totes. So basically, these 2 totes is equal to about 10 drums of base resin, which will give us about 130, 120 based upon our mix of pails of resin. So we typically run this in inventory all the time. So anybody out there that needs resin, needs epoxy, we've certainly got it. We can handle it. It's something that's unique because people think, you you know, to take you back to the guy that told me liner was just liner, you'll see that base resin is very, very clear, but it's very, very thick, too thick to be introduced into felt. So what we have to do is we have to bring in a diluent, and we've done a lot of work on our diluents to make sure that the diluent that we're using, number one, is safe to use. That's very important. Many diluents out there are very, very aggressive, and you know, you need to have MSDS sheets around all the time if you're using a diluent that is not as safe. So we've done a lot of work with that, but basically what our diluent does as well is not only thin out our product, but what it does is it adds structural integrities to our final product, so that when we put our product in for code compliance and code approval, typically our tests are through the roof.
Clear.
So here, Jose, we are doing testing right now. So we've been mixing batches all week. So basically what we're doing is we have to test every single batch so that everything on that label, on that pail, it's got a batch number that reflects back to the date it was made, when it was made, and who made it. So there's a third party QC program that we have to where the person that mixes cannot sign off on the final product in the test. So somebody else has to do the testing, and that maintains our QC. So you'll see that what we do. So what we'll do is on a final mix, we'll mix our catalyst in here, and then we have to time this, and we have to make sure that it matches our specific time for our catalyst. And I think that is a normal mix. So this would be our normal resin mix. So right here, this is our base epoxy. So we're mixing a drum of base. So again, what goes in here is color and a diluent. To make it thinner, to make it more absorbable for the felt. So we're mixing that right now. So that's a drum of A. This is also a drum of A. And this is a catalyst drum. So what we do with our catalyst, again, we bring in different chemicals for this. But the main one is we got to color this up to make sure that when we mix our resin, we can see that wet out and make sure that everything is good to go with it. So this is our catalyst mix here. So every one of these drums will give us roughly 11 pails.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the tubing stations. This is our welder here. Doesn't have a name. He's not our welder. It's a welder. So basically, what we'll do is we'll drop this down, and when we drop this around and put it inside of this seam, the hot air actually blows in here, melts the two layers, and then the wheel goes over and presses them together, and that gives us our welded felt seam. So we'll run these full time. And you know, we could do, again, you know, everybody always says, you know, they say, why don't you just buy a big machine? It'll just spit it out. The problem is this laminate. You know, you can buy laminated felt, but it doesn't have this type of lamination on it. So again, it's either soft or too hard. If it's too hard, it's not going to go around bends. If it's too soft, it gets caught on everything. So that's one of the reasons why we utilize these machines and we utilize the felt the way we do it. So it fits our purpose. We're not trying to fit a product. We're not trying to take a product and make it fit somewhere. We have a product that fits somewhere, and that's why we maintain it. And we could drive our margins through the roof and have a big machine and do it, but haven't found one yet. So in here we've got a full metal fab area where we make rollers. We make all of our plastic inversion boxes. We make a lot of different things here. We've got metal shears, welding, and we do a lot of different things in here as far as some of the equipment that's required. And that's because it's just not readily available. The equipment that we use, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen a plastic conversion box at Walmart. So We literally have to make this stuff ourselves. And I've heard some guys say, you know what, sometimes this stuff looks like it comes out of somebody's garage. Well, this is basically a garage. We have to make it from scratch. So that's the important thing. And that's one way we're able to control our pricing. You know, if we're going out third partying everything, we're just adding more and more cost to it. And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we're passing any of that savings on to our guys so that their margins are increased a lot. So I'm going to introduce you to IPT. The drivers for this is, you know, I was so tired because I know everybody's a plumber. I know everybody works in a drain. But there's no reason why we have to look like we work in a drain. We have to smell like we work in a drain. And one of the things that always irritates me is I'm always yelling at my guys here. I'm like, get off your knees, stand up and work. You know, work on a bench, work on a table. Don't make life harder. Believe me, I know it. My back hurts now, my knees hurt now, so I've certainly learned this. But again, you know, I see all these pictures of these trailers, and they're stacked with pails and pails and dirty pails, and there's equipment, and there's resin everywhere, and everything is all over the place. And for me, you know, just being kind of that disruptor guy, it's never good enough. I don't like that, and I want to see it change. So for us, we went in and we saw the trailers that were available, and then again being on site with some of the guys using other systems and watching these trailers just degrade into nothingness and be beat up. One of the things that we've done is we designed the trailers that we feel this is the way the trailers need to be in this industry. And again, trying to take this industry up a level, that's what we're all about. So basically our trailer packages, you know, come with a flat back. We're actually waiting for our tarps that will basically, tarps will come out here and enclose this extra 9 feet of space, utilizing the whole trailer as opposed to just having the back. All of our cabinets are all aluminum cabinets, all very functional, all shelved, all built for our equipment. So this trailer, these 2 trailers are going out. We have 2 more coming in. We were kind of caught off guard with the trailers, to be honest. A lot of contractors are liking them and they love them. So they're ordering them. But everything will come, our trailer packages come all together. So they come with compressors. They come with all of our steamer technology that we're going to show you. What's great about this is, again, thought has been put into this where we have outlets in behind the cabinets. So they're great for battery stations and things like that. So people can plug in their batteries. They're not rolling around on the countertops. This is the special part of the trailer. So again, taking a look at it and watching guys fight with ice every day. You know, they got ice buckets and everything is on ice, which means there's water everywhere, which means it's slippery, which means it's unsafe. So what we've done is we've actually designed a system to where you'll notice a difference between these 2 benches on the bench tops.
The thickness here compared to that side.
So basically what we've got here is a standard countertop. Here we actually have a 2-inch plenum that runs the entire length of our working table. And you'll see our automated roller system here that comes as a calibrated roller system. So basically that's at the end. But what's unique about this is we have a proprietary cool system. What we do is we pump our air through here, and that will bring this table down into the low 60s as far as a working table. So you can see that this table is 18 feet long. So you've got 18 feet of a cold surface that once you've mixed your resin and you've got your resin slug is now sitting in a refrigerator and sitting on here, keeping it cool. And that gives your guys a lot more time to work with it. Then it comes out of here. We actually have ordered a double wall aluminum system here to where the outside is filled with ice so that the inside stays very, very cool. And again, we're trying to keep that water away, trying to keep guys from pouring ice on the floor, trying to keep water out of everything. And again, trying to take everything to the next level to where, you know, things make sense. You don't have to work the way you're working. You can work clean. It's a sewer, but you don't have to work that way. And that's what we're trying to change with these trailers. Trying to give guys really nice work areas. All the trailers come with standard AC, rooftop AC and heat. So again, you know, all those guys up in the north where it gets pretty cold in the wintertime, it's got heat. And again, obviously you don't need to have this on in the wintertime, but they come standard LED lighting systems throughout. And again, Everything is wired. We do all the wiring ourselves. So we run all the outlets, we run everything in here so that they're functional. You know, you're not running an extension cord from up here to run everything back here. Everything is wired up. Generators are at the front. What's nice about these two is I've seen a lot of guys, you know, they sell a trailer, but then they sell the toolbox on wheels and they're trying to wheel it in and fit it in. These are all nice. They lock, so they come with a nice lift. And again, everything is incorporated. Cool top comes right to the very end. We're pretty excited about these. Okay. We're able to do this in the multiple different packages, guys. This is a 24-foot. That's a 20-foot package. So again, same thing, cool top, cabinets, just a couple extra cabinets in the 24-foot, but essentially systems are the same. You can see this one's in a little bit various stages. We haven't put the lights or the AC unit in up top.
Yeah, stuff like that. But we're doing all these jobs fairly close to the shop. Yeah, having a trailer is just not practical. And you're twisting your axles trying to get into driveways. Back up.
So before we go to the wet out, something that we're announcing, a full announcement coming out. But like the transitions, we're now going to be moving into fitting liners. So this is our fitting liner station coming around here. And basically, how we do that is we take our molds, which is just simply fittings cut in half longitudinally. And what we do is we specifically cut our felt and we form our fitting into these molds. So this is a 4Y. We'll have a 3Y, 3 on 4, 3 on 3, whatever those are. They're going to be available within the next 4 weeks. So this will be filled out with fitting station. So that's going to be coming out. We're going to be announcing that very shortly. That we're going to be giving out and sending out kits of that because we've now perfected our small steamers. So we now have a nice carry mechanism for our fitting liners. This is one of the units that is making felt. This is Gator. The camera lady definitely has a liking to the welder, obviously.
She was mesmerized.
So to go along with the thing, and I don't know how much you guys have seen about IPT, but at IPT we're all about data. So this is our diesel hot water unit. So what this does is this will actually clear liners. We bleed off the far end, so there's no need to recirculate. And we supply a steady temperature of about 140-degree water into our liners, because you don't want to superheat your liners because then you change all of your structural properties of it. So basically, what we've done is a simple hot water unit. But what we've done is we've actually added sensors into here, and we've added them in line. Why we've done this is because typically what will happen is somebody will say, well, it's about an hour, give or take. And then you ask some questions and maybe they just don't know, and they just go, just leave it in 2 hours and it'll be fine. So what we've done is we've done a lot of work. So we're tracking a couple of different things on these sensors and these data screens. If you want to come in here and take a look at them. So in here, this unit is going to track my gallons per minute, my temperature, and my totalizer. So this is going to tell me how much water I've put through. once I reach my optimum temperature and my PSI, once I reach that, I'm going to run about 64 gallons through a liner to cure it. We know that because we run a totalizer off of it and we're getting data. So we know, we can say you got to run 64 gallons of water through that 6-inch liner. And the nice part about it is it's 64 gallons of water to run through it, but it doesn't change the longer it is. Okay? You're moving that specific amount of water through that, maintaining that temperature. So basically, because we're capturing the data, we know exactly when our liners are here. All about the data. So this one is PSI, which runs back to our main board right here. This data is downloadable as well, by the way. So out of this box here, we can actually download the data and you can have cure reports with all of your lines. So we're gonna just do a quick wet out here because I think we are running short on time here. But very quickly, while John mixes this, these are our start steamers. So this is our larger steamer. So this will give us unlimited steam for hours on end. This is our mini steamer. So this unit, the reason why we have this unit, that people ask us, it's just a tool in a toolbox. It's very important. It makes curing short liners and small liners very, very easy. It's 110. You can plug it in a bathroom if you're doing a sink line. You can plug it into a kitchen if you're doing a sink line. And you can cure your liners in an hour. So it's a nice little kick that, you don't have to wait for the liners to cure. You don't have to do anything. You can do it. But the key is when you get inside of a home, you might have, anywhere between 5 to 10 liners to install. So the ability to be able to do this and do multiple liners in a day is pretty key, especially if you're driving gross margins and you want to drive those. So it's pretty important to be able to drop 3 or 4 liners in a day. And we've done these, and we've had our partners buy these right off that have done no lining before, and we've been able to do it on training where we go out and we actually put those steamers to work and we're able to cure those. And also they work very well on vertical lines as well. Okay. So for many of the people that think I have also lost the touch, I've been training for about the last year. So lining is kind of like a bike, you kind of forget a little bit how to ride it, but then within a couple of minutes, it takes over and you're right back at it again. So we're just going to run through a wet out, show you how our automated rollers work. This one is already calibrated for 3-inch thin felt. It comes with calibration modules, so you can do it. We only have 2, so we don't have, one of the things that people were doing was they would come out with their calibrator rollers and it has like 27 different pieces of metal, but they only carried 1 thickness of felt, so I never understood it. So ours, we just have 2. We have our thin felt and our thicker felt, and again, it's based off millimeters. So one of the things that we do on our wet out, again, to go back to the trailers, we have sleeves. You can see them on the outside. And why we do that is because one of the messiest parts of any wet out, specifically pull in place, sometimes on Inversion,
Is the wet out.
is the wet out. That's how you get resin everywhere. So this is one way that we are able to actually maintain and keep control and keep it very neat and taggy. And some people will use a funnel, guys, but we don't, but anybody can. What's nice about this product as well, you'll see I'm pretty close to it right now. I can't smell anything. It's not that I'm just old and don't have any smell or anything like that. It's just, it does not have an odor. Again, it's one of the reasons why we use epoxies. You'll see down at the bottom, you'll see it's already starting to wet out. So with that plastic on the outside, we don't have to worry about losing any of our resin. You see, it makes the wet out pretty easy, and you'll see it turning blue.
Got it.
You can see, nice control. Wet out. Got it? And of course, the messages throw away. That's, one of the things too is everything we do, guys, is on a small compressor basis. So right here. So that's what we line with. The rollers come with a manual as well. The nice part about these rollers is that actually you can buy a manual set and then you can upgrade to the motor, and the motor fits on their manual set. So it's actually a upgradable system that you can start with the manual. Plastic conversion. So basically, this is how we actually get our bladder back through. We're not going to do that today, but we're gonna shoot the plastic through today, just so you can see how we actually get the string through the liner and things like that. So this was the little unit that I was talking about that isn't available at Walmart. We're just doing this slow so everybody can see it. Typically, if we were on site, this is obviously going to move through a lot faster. Oh, you got probably the wrong. That's it. I guess is that. So I think it should give you a pretty good idea, I guess, of what IPT is. Again, I think one of the most important things is that IPT is the only one out there that gives you that full support. With David's kind of business mentoring for our guys, I think that's second to none as far as that goes. We do a lot of work with SGI, Success Group International. They've been great to us. David's been a member of that forever and a long time. So a lot of our guys actually come in with that base knowledge, but that added mentorship, I think, goes a long way as far as a comfort level with working with IPT and getting into trenchless. And one of the things we're seeing specifically with the SGI group is a lot of HVAC testing.
Yeah, it's well that and swimming pool contractors are looking into it. I mean, we are working on that technology as well.
Yeah.
So air conditioning contractors, as a matter of fact, Midway Plumbing today is relining some underground air conditioning duct.
We are. Yeah, we are lining some duct work, actually quite a bit of duct work at a house that has duct work underground.
Large diameter.
Large diameter, 14, 13, down to, I guess, 7 inches, the smallest. But, they had a bad sewer pipe that then leaked into their duct work. And it was a mess. So we're working on that. But I think a lot of HVAC guys are getting into it. I think, to close it up on the Trenchless Technology Day, I think trenchless technology is growing past where it normally is. And I think it's becoming that kind of, everybody's looking at it. So you got, heating and air conditioning guys wanting to get in because they see the margins and they see the excitement of the technology and things like that. So it's great to see trenchless technology grow beyond drain cleaners and municipal contractors and things like that, to where certainly other people are getting educated on it. And it's a growing field for sure. I think we can all agree that it's a pretty exciting field. I think everybody that is in it knows it. It's pretty cool stuff.
It's so fun.
It is.
And it's always a lot more fun when you make good money. That's
Makes everything fun.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
and I think with some of the technology that Cameron's coming out with, he's back in his element. He's in this warehouse constantly every day where he should have been for the last 15 years. He's coming up with some stuff that I think is going to drive another 5% to my gross margin.
Yeah,
I'm not going to have to work any harder at all. Actually, easy.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. There's other technology out there. There's two things that's going to impact your gross margin, guys. That's your labor and your material. We're going to do our part, obviously, to save on your labor. And we're going to do our part to save on the material too. So we're going to do our part to make you guys successful. Again, there's a lot of tech out there. Be careful, making sure that your suppliers are doing their part. A lot of suppliers now, I find there's a rush to judgment on technology where they're just like, oh, this is great. And then you ask them about it, and they don't really know about it. They don't really understand the margins of it. They don't understand the depreciation of the equipment. They don't understand any part of it. So again, if it's about two, I guess you can grab a supplier that's just about two, but we're not about that. We want to understand and know the business. We want to know the ins and outs of the business.
We share our cell phone numbers.
Absolutely.
Everybody. Absolutely. Call us direct anytime.
Yep. So I guess with that would probably close out IPT's Trenchless Day. I don't know what time it is, but I think we can do some questions if anybody has any questions.
If anybody has a question.
I mean, there's about 150,000 people that signed up for this, guys. So we might not get to your question, but we might.
Is there certain areas that you're looking for partners right now? Is there areas that are open?
Yeah, there's a lot of areas that are open. One of the things that I did in my past life was, I prefer to do business with a smaller network. It's the way you can be intimate with them. It's the way you can understand them and you can get to know them. So for IPT, we have specific population-based territories that we like to stick with. And again, you can't be everything to everybody, and you can't have 700 guys using your product and be intimate with them and help them and mentor them, and be in tune with what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, we have the nice part about IPT being a year or so old, obviously with tons of background in our experience, is that there's a lot of areas that are open, and we're looking for partners right across the country. And we're looking for partners that want to grow.
How many partners in each area?
So depending on the population, it all depends on population. So, we're not specifically where we have a business model that's based upon, 200,000 people and 200,001 gets 2 people. So we don't do business that way. We do it relationship based. So if you're in a larger metropolitan area that's got a couple million people, we might have 3 or 4 guys. Maximum on the larger side, like Metroplex might have 3 or 4 guys, as an example.
We would want to probably co-op marketing, work with the team, be team.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're looking at. So when you do look at those territories and things like that, we want to come up with a system that works well. So, we're looking at developing things like the pipe team where, you're driving your business in your local area with your brand and your name, but you're a partner with the pipe team. So it gives us the ability to market, but then also gives you the ability to maintain your independentness in your company brand in your area, because it's your brand that is going to drive that local market, not our brand. So when we are building things, we're looking at doing things like that with our guys. But again, when we do things, it's all about feedback. So, when we're talking to guys and they like it, then you talk to some guys and you can see that it kind of bothers them a little bit. That's the data that I want back. I want to say, why does this bother you? And typically it's because, suppliers, they run it and, they end up, you got somebody else and they don't know where their lead's coming from and they don't know if they can trust their supplier because their supplier is just looking for another startup. So,
And we're certainly not in a rush to put multiple people in one area. We want to work with that one and get them successful.
in fact,
But anybody would know if you're in a $5 million people.
Yeah.
There's no way one contractor could cover that. It's impossible.
Another question was, how do you verify correct ratio has been achieved when mixing the resin?
it's done by weight. So everything in our resin chart. So when you do the QR code, everything is done on that. But it's a good question because it's one of those weaknesses in the industry that we're actually addressing and looking at. And over there, we didn't show it because we're not happy with it. We have a resin dispensing system that actually, you can actually go up to it right here, and I'll just show you quick. I know it's going to open up a ton of questions, and again, we haven't rolled it out because we're not comfortable with it. With this unit right here, basically what's in here is inside this CPU is all of our mix ratios, everything. So if you have a 4-inch liner, it's a touch screen. So if you have a 4-inch liner that's 30 feet, you can go up here and say it's a 4-inch. It asks you how long, 30 feet, thin or thick felt, and actually it dispenses and it goes right into your liner pre-mixed, the specific and exact amount of resin you need for that liner. So again, mentioning from before, everything that we're doing, we want to take the industry up a level. We want to go to the next level. I want to stop guys mixing in pails. We don't want guys having that control. We don't want guys messing up the mix ratios and things like that. So this is the type of stuff that we're going to take this industry to. And you'll see, so in the back here, it's a portable unit. I mean, you can take this into a job site. This is actually going to become standard on our trailer packages, but you've got your A and your B. They're both 20-liter capacity. So that's going to give us probably 100 pounds of A and 100 pounds of B, which is enough to do over 150 feet of liner. So you've got plenty of capacity as far as what you're going to be doing. And then these are our pumps back here, our ratio pumps at the bottom. And then this is our dispenser here. And basically, so again, I can't emphasize enough where IPT is and where it's going, which is we want to change everything and we want to professionalize this industry. We want to get people up off the ground. We want to get people working in proper working areas and with proper technology. And again, if you remember, that data is all savable. This data is all savable. So everything that we do is all about data.
I just had a question. They text me directly. Are you ready to start selling the products? Can we start buying from you instead of? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Yeah, so we're ready, and we're ready because, guys, we have all of our approvals. We have had them for quite some time.
We actually, this is actually year 2, but last year we had COVID.
Correct.
And
So for everybody out there that actually built the business during COVID,
yeah, good for you.
good
because
for
it
you
was-
because
it
we
was
did it.
tough.
It was tough.
This has been a totally different year this
Yeah,
year.
so a year or so ago, guys, this building was completely empty. You know, and we built it from the ground up, which gave us the capability to be able to make it the way we wanted it. Are our tables wooden tables? Yeah, they're wooden tables. And will we change them to metal tables, the proper tables? Yeah, we will. But you know, what's great about this place is, you know, this is a through and through startup, you know, a year and a half ago. And I will tell you that we are so far beyond where we thought we'd be.
We're not in debt.
Not in debt.
At all.
Nothing. So, I mean, we're so much further ahead than we are. And it's such a great place to be, you know, to where we can focus on the products and the technology and stuff. It's been a really good year. So yes, anybody that's buying things from somebody else, you know, again, if your supplier has got the mentality that it's just tube, then you know, come on over. We're happy to support you. Happy to give you a proper territory and happy to grow our businesses together. Because I think that's the thing. You know, our guys aren't licensees; they're partners. And the nice thing about this business is that, you know, your success is our success. And if you're not being successful, then we're not being successful. So we're tied together. And that's just based on our business model. So that's what we want to do. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what we're doing.
Any other questions? Well, let's be sure and show our pretty sales lady, Dee. This is who will be your contact. This is Dee Baker, and she will be handling all the sales, I guess.
Yes.
100%.
100%.
She was actually a part-time camera lady a while ago when it was all jiggly and shaky.
I don't do cameras. I do sales.
So
Yeah, you know, we're not at capacity, guys. We can handle quite a bit of work. We can handle quite a bit of material orders.
special
You know.
orders, I mean, that's the cool thing.
And I think the nice thing about this too, this plant is the plant, like the mixing area, has been built to actually multiply our units. So literally within 4 days, we could have double the capacity of our mixers over there by the way we built our machines. So everything we've done and everything we've built is based upon, you know, multiplying our capabilities and being able to supply, because, you know, I'd certainly on the manufacturing side, I know, you know, what it looks like when you're pumping stuff out. And, you know, to a surprise to us, you know, last week we shipped out 2,200 pounds, 2,500 pounds to one customer. So things are going. Jump on board. It's pretty exciting.
Reach out to us, give us a call, send us an email. If you're not aligned with us yet, you got a problem, we'd be glad to talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
So
Also, if you place an order, it usually goes out that day or the next day, within a couple of days.
You know, Dee, that's a good point. So in the industry right now, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are hearing things, and resins are pretty scarce. But our plant manager, Dennis Prasad, who worked in my past company and it basically did such an incredible job taking a plant from zero to ISO 9000 on his first try. He's on board and he runs all of our approvals in all of our plant. And he has secured our resin supplies, and he's done such a fantastic job with it that, you know, we can handle just about any order you guys can throw at us. We have all the resin we can handle for sure. So. Why don't you talk about pricing, Dee? Pricing.
So with our pricing, we're holding pricing. So if you hear rumors that pricing is gonna go up from other companies, ours is not. We're gonna keep ours.
Very good point. I actually forgot about it. I thought you meant pricing.
Oh.
But you're talking about pricing, yeah. So again, other suppliers, you know, what's nice about IPT, and again, to learn from my past, you know, you're looking at, you know, we don't have and won't have a big CFO. We won't have big CEO. We won't have 6 middle managers. We're not going to have it. Guys, you know, our pricing is pretty status quo. It's not going up. We've got our margins in line. We've got our supply in line. So it's great. And I know a lot of people in the industry are getting notifications that, you know, suppliers are changing pricing and things like that. Our guys don't get any of those letters. We're maintaining our pricing right through. And again, because we're small and nimble, well, we're not nimble. you can see. So, but,
We're old.
but as a business, we're nimble. You know, so we're able to kind of do things, and we do volume discounting. We do free shipping. We do all the standard stuff, guys. You know, it's minimum order, 5,000 is free shipping, things like that. So, and again, because we're kind of in charge of it all, and you're talking to us, we can do whatever we can do.
I have another question. Any small diameter potable water lining solutions?
Yes, we're working on that. My goal was to have that fourth quarter, but just with how busy we've been, to be honest, it's going to push back a little bit. But we're revamping everything on that potable side and on the equipment side, completely changing the approach of it, completely losing the after coolers and things like that, and going with refrigeration for dew point. We're changing everything about that again to go along with IPT changing everything and being that leader. The potable side is getting completely revamped. I would say probably closer to the end of the year now is what we'll be launching something with. And of course, Midway will have the first one, and you'll all get feedback from Midway when.
And I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
I've been doing potable myself since 2006. Yep. Every day. We do a lot of potable, and yeah, we want to, but we're not just going to sell a product. It's going to be well tested.
Shipment to Australia.
Shipment to Australia. We can ship to Australia at any time. We ship to Canada. Obviously, with my background, I know how to ship internationally. We can ship anywhere. Right now, we're working on Europe. As far as you know, being present in Europe, I'm happy to chat with anybody in Australia. We can ship anything anywhere.
Feedback to you, Cameron. One guy, the auto mixer is a great concept, takes the human error out of mixing resins. Great job. Great explanation on everything. I really like the hot water unit for small liners.
Great.
I don't have any more questions on my side.
Well, all right, everybody. Thanks to everybody. Shame I couldn't see everybody, but it made it a little different.
We wanted to say we're sorry if it was jiggly or big,
Yeah.
because this time and one more would be two
Yeah, exactly.
virtual
right.
open houses we've had. So
I guess to close it all out, guys, our plan is always open for people that want to come by, you know, and see what we're doing, see how Midway operates and runs, ask David
Got-
questions about
got
it.
some great steak houses here.
Yeah, yeah. And David's got a great staff over there at Midway that will help out as well, pretty in tune with doing all the processes and all the systems. And then again, our plan is always open to anybody that wants to stop by and come see it. You know, it's you know, the manufacturing side of this industry is the unsung hero, and nobody ever shows it. And I don't understand why. There's such great processes out there that people need to see it. I mean, it's always nice to see how things are made. People just, you know, their plants are usually stuck in a corner, like, you know, the ugly stepchild for some reason. I don't understand why, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it.
And on our website, you can just reach out to us on contact on that tab. info@generalbigtech.com.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.